Hey folks, this is Kelani. Going into the next expansion is probably going to seem a little rough for a lot of people. We're losing our artifact weapons, which not only provide us with powerful new abilities to add to our rotation, but they also augment our classes and specs in a bunch of different ways via the golden traits and the huge amount of passive abilities. Take all of that away and we're kind of left with the bare bones of each spec, which you can definitely feel on the alpha currently. Everyone is more or less just losing an ability or two across the board because we're going from a fully unlocked progression feature from one expansion to the start of a different progression feature in the next expansion. We're losing everything we've gathered so far, and while that's par the course for an MMO, that doesn't mean it's going to feel great. On top of losing our artifact weapons, legendary items and effects will no longer work, so that's another layer of interaction which we won't have in Battle for Azeroth. What we will have instead is the new Heart of Azeroth artifact as well as Azurite Armor. So instead of powering up your artifact weapon, you will be powering up this new necklace. As you level, quest and upgrade your gear in general, you'll come across some pieces of Azurite Armor. These can fill the head, shoulder and chest slots and are supposed to be the new exciting progression feature that will hopefully fill in a few of the holes left behind. Azurite Armor has just been enabled on the alpha for testing, so let's see how things are right now and where they could end up heading. This is going to be a first impressions type of dealio because remember this is all alpha footage, so everything is subject to change and may not reflect the finished product. Let's hop straight in. So you collect Azurite from a variety of sources. It seems like it's going to be more or less exactly the same as artifact power. You can get some for running dungeons, key storyline quests, and I'm assuming later on, raids and endgame content in general. The Heart of Azeroth neck piece doesn't actually do anything on its own, it just collects and stores the Azurite. When you collect enough Azurite, your amulet will increase in level. I can't find a way to track that right now, but again, this is early days, so I'm sure that's going to be included in the future. And then to use the power of your amulet, you need to find some Azurite Armor. As I said before, Azurite Armor can be in the head, shoulder or chest slot, and these pieces of gear are actually excluded from the Titan forging system. They also come with increased primary stats compared to other pieces of gear, but don't have any secondary stats. The last thing that makes these pieces of armor special is that each unique piece of armor will have a very specific set of power-ups or bonuses. What's weirdly interesting is that you can draw quite a few one-for-one parallels between this system and the artifact weapons system. You collect Azurite, just like artifact power, and you collect 3 different pieces of Azurite armor, just how we collected 3 different weapon relics. The first few Azurite and Azurite armor rewards that you'll see will come from main storyline quests, just like the first rewards of artifact power and relics. Just a fun little thing I noticed. So if we shift right click, we get to see how this might end up looking. The UI itself is a work in progress. You can see at the bottom there it says temporary user interface, so expect it to look a lot shinier when things start getting polished up. But we can check out some of the talents, traits or whatever else you want to call them on our one piece of Azurite armor. This just went up for testing, so I think we only have one piece of armor which you start with. I quested around for a bit and picked up another piece of Azurite armor, but it didn't have any traits active, so we probably only have the one to look at so far. The first row of bonuses unlocks straight away with your Heart of Azeroth at level 1. You can see the level requirements at the left hand side there, so the next tier will require you to get your heart up to level 4 by collecting Azurite. Keep going up to level 7 for the next row, and then the last point can be unlocked at level 10. So there's definite progression to be made there. It's pretty straightforward. Collect Azurite and unlock some traits. As for the traits themselves, every trait on these pieces of armor is the exact same across every single class right now, except for the first row, which are all spec dependent. The first trait on the first row is the same across every class as well, so it's just the other ones on that row which change. You get one choice per spec available to you, so a Demon Hunter has the one general trait plus 2 others to choose from, while a Druid actually gets the general trait and 4 others to choose from. The first trait heals you whenever you kill an enemy and gives you a versatility buff which can stack up to 2 times. The Demon Hunter trait for Havoc grants you mastery whenever you use 3 demon spites in a row, and the Vengeance one gives you a shield whenever your fiery brand expires on your primary target. So the weird thing right now is that these Azurite armor pieces were supposed to work across spec in that you could use the same gear for any spec you desired. The bonuses were just going to be a little different. That first row of traits kind of defies that purpose because you have to choose between your specializations and you can't can't actually undo or change your choice once it's been made, so my Demon Hunter will be stuck with the Havoc trait even when I swap around specs. I guess you could use different armor pieces for different specs. We'll have to see how the system turns out in the end, but so far we're probably going to end up carting around a whole bunch of gear again if you frequently swap specs. Let's check out the other traits, and once again, these are all the same across all the classes and specs right now. That's probably because this is the very first piece of Azurite Armor that we're getting a look at. As more and more traits and bonuses are introduced, we should have a better selection. But for now, Winds of War grants you dodge, which stacks up to 10 times whenever you take damage. Gut Ripper gives your attacks a chance to deal extra damage. Elemental Whirl gives your attacks a chance to increase your secondary stats for 10 seconds. Vampiric Speed heals you and gives you a little speed boost whenever you kill an enemy. Resounding Protection gives you a small absorb shield every 30 seconds. Hello Pride as 2.0. And the very last trait gives your piece of gear an extra 5 item levels. Let's blast through the class-specific ones real quick to give you an idea of what kinds of things to expect. Each of these traits is going to relate to one of your class's specs, so they should be pretty obvious to figure out. We already looked at Demon Hunters, so let's start with Death Knights. Deep Cuts gives Heartstrike a damage bonus when you hit 3 or more targets, and you heal based on damage dealt. Icy Citadel causes Pillar of Frost to grant extra strength when you're above 75% health, and Festering Doom causes Death Coil to increase the damage of your next Festering Strike. On to Druids. Streaking Stars causes Celestial Alignment to call down Streaking Stars for extra damage whenever you cast a spell that isn't a repeat of the previous spell cast. Primordial Rage causes Berserk to increase the damage of Rip. Heartblood causes Mangle to increase the healing you take, and Fungal Essence causes Swiftbend to also provide an AoE heal from your Mushroom. Hunters get Serrated Jaws, which gives Kill Command a chance to deal extra damage and grant your pet some focus. In the Rhythm increases your haste whenever you finish channeling Rapid Fire, and Wildfire Cluster, which causes Wildfire Bomb to also drop a small cluster of bombs for extra damage. Mages have Arcane Annihilation, giving Arcane Blast a bit of extra damage while you have 4 charges, Flames of Alacrity, which increases the haste bonus from Enhanced Pyrotechnics, and Packed Ice, which gives Ice Lance a bit of extra damage if the target was recently hit by a Frozen Orb. Monks have Boiling Brew, which gives your Keg Smash bonus damage if the targets are burning from your Breath of Fire, and a little bit of healing. Invigorating Brew, which causes Vivify to heal for more while you have Thunder Focus Tea active, and Iron Fists, which causes Fists of Fury to grant you crit if it hits 4 or more targets. Paladins have Martyr's Breath, which gives Light of the Martyr a chance to provide additional heals from your Blessing of Sacrifice, Bulwark of Light, which grants you a shield when you use Avenger's Shield, and Avenger's Might, which provides mastery while Avenging Wrath is active. Priests get Moment of Repose, Pain Suppression applies Atonement to the target and instantly heals them, Permeating Glow, which causes Flash Heal to increase the healing provided by Flash Heal on the same target, and Searing Dialogue. Mindseer deals additional damage to enemies who have Shadow Word Pain on them. For the rogues, we have Double Dose, which gives Mutilate a bit of bonus damage if both daggers apply lethal poison, Dead Shot, which causes Between the Eyes to increase the damage of Pistol Shot, and Sharpened Blades, which increases the damage of Shuriken Toss when you auto-attack. Shamans get Volcanic Lightning, which causes Lava Burst to deal extra damage if your target was recently hit by your lightning. Primal Primer provides a stacking damage increase to Lava Lash if you have Flame Tongue active, and Soothing Waters provides extra healing from Chain Heal on your primary target. On to Warlocks. Racking Brilliance provides an intellect bonus when you gain soul shards from Agony, Shadow's Bite gives you a damage boost to Shadow Ball when your Dreadstalkers disappear, and Heavy Rain grants you haste when Rain of Fire damages 3 or more enemies. Last but not least, we have Warriors. Executioner's Precision boosts your Mortal Strike damage whenever you use Execute, Trample the Weak grants you versatility if you hit a target with Rampage who has less percentage health than yourself, and the last trait on our list is Deafening Crash. When Thunderclap damages only one enemy, it deals more damage and provides you with a shield. Keep in mind that a lot of the numbers shown are probably not final values. As far as traits go, not too terrible, but for a system which is supposed to be replacing artifact weapons, legendary effects, the Netherlight Crucible, and set bonuses all in one go, there's a few boring or bland choices in there. What I do like is that you have a few effects which sort of work the same way but have different outcomes. You can do some extra damage straight up, or you could increase your stats to help do more damage for a little bit longer. You can choose between offense and defense, which is is probably going to be a no-brainer for tanks most of the time, but remember that these pieces of gear can be changed in and out for a variety of different bonuses for different scenarios. You might need a little bit of extra defense while leveling, but for dungeons you want straight up damage. Tanks might want to change between defense and offense depending on how confident they're feeling or what content they're running, which, let's be honest, this could end up being a very slippery slope to holding several pieces of armor in your bags just for the one spec, never mind multiple, simply due to differences in encounters in dungeons or raids. If you're the kind of player who loves to min-max, this could have hilarious results. For now the bonuses look a little dull, but this is the first round of traits that we've gotten our hands on. If the plan hasn't changed since BlizzCon, I would expect a whole variety of bonuses on these pieces of Azurite Armor, which could draw from all of the previous systems that aren't going to be around anymore. Set bonuses, legendary effects, Netherlight Crucible bonuses, or even traits from our artifact weapons could come back in new and interesting ways as part of the Azurite Armor system. I'm excited to see where this leads, though one thing that I hope changes in the future is the ability to change your trait choice. Being locked into a single choice might not seem too much while leveling because you replace your gear so fast, but when you get to max level and the upgrades start to slow down, those choices are going to be very important, and being unable to change your mind is a little frustrating. It's going to be the Netherlight Crucible all over again, where you have to know what you want before you make your choice. You'll end up looking up a guide for which trait or bonus is the best before picking anything because you can't undo your decision. Being able to play around with them yourself and make the choice based off of personal experience would be far more gratifying and natural. The only redeeming factor from this new system is that every unique piece of armor has set bonuses, so if you get a Helmet of Awesomeness from a specific boss and you mess up your trait selection, going to kill that boss again and looting another Helmet of Awesomeness will have the exact same Azurite Armor traits, so it's not as stupidly random as the Netherlight Crucible, but it would still be a frustrating experience to go through. Either way, that's our first look at the Azurite Armor system coming in Battle for Azeroth. What do you think so far? Are there any effects from legendaries, set bonuses, or anywhere else that you would like to see return in this new system? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.